Ladies and gentlemen, young kings and queens, let me tell you something that nobody's been honest enough to say. Self, priority is not selfishness. Putting yourself first is not arrogant. Self-respect. Now listen. Let's talk about something a lot of people get twisted. Thinking about yourself does not mean you're being selfish. That's not what this is. See, people confuse self-care with selfishness, but they're not even in the same category. Selfishness is when you take and don't give. Self-care is when you fill yourself so you got something real to give. Big difference. See, when you constantly put everybody else first. Your family, your job, your friends, you start believing that you don't matter unless you're sacrificing something. But what that actually does, it teaches people that you're available for everything except your own life. You're teaching folks how to treat you by how you treat yourself. So if you keep putting yourself last, don't be surprised when nobody else puts you first either. Now here's the psychological truth. Your identity starts where your boundaries begin. If you have no boundaries, you lose yourself in everybody else's expectations. That's how people wake up one day in their 40s, 50s miserable because they lived their whole life pleasing everybody else and never once asked, "What do I want?" And philosophically, let's go even deeper. If you don't define your own purpose, society will assign you one. That's how folks end up stuck, unhappy, going through the motions in a life that don't even belong to them. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're on track. So the next time someone tries to guilt you for choosing you, for resting, for working on your goals, for saying no when it don't serve you, remember this. You are not wrong for putting yourself first. You are just finally right with yourself. The world doesn't wait for you. Time moves whether you're ready or not. You either evolve or dissolve. Let me hit you with something real. The world don't wait. Time don't hit pause just because you're unsure, scared, or not ready. Life ain't checking in to see if you've caught up yet. It just keeps moving with or without your permission. That's why I say, think about yourself or get left behind. Because if you're not actively choosing to grow, to move, to step up, then by default, you're choosing to be left behind. And trust me, the gap between where you are and where you could be, that gap gets wider every day you stand still. Let's talk psychology here. The human brain is built to seek comfort. It likes what's familiar, what's predictable. But growth lives in the unknown. That's why most people avoid change even when they need it. They wait until the pressure forces them to move. But by then, opportunities have passed, doors have closed, and the world has kept turning. Now, philosophically, think of time as a moving train. You're either on it, driving your life with intention, or you're standing at the station watching it fly by. And let me tell you, regret sounds a lot like, "I thought I had more time." So when you sit around waiting for the right moment, understand there's no such thing. You don't need perfect timing. You need courage. You need urgency. The kind of urgency that says, if I don't get serious about me right now, I might not get another shot. Because here's the bottom line. Life doesn't slow down for indecision. It moves at the speed of purpose. Value your time and energy. Every yes to others is a no to your own goals if you're not careful. Let's break something down that most folks never really think about. Your time and energy are your two most valuable resources. Not money, not followers, not even talent. Time and energy, because once they're gone, you don't get them back. And yet, every day, people give them away like they're infinite. You wake up And before you've even brushed your teeth, you're already responding to everybody else's demands, text messages, emails, drama that ain't yours. And you haven't poured a single drop into yourself. Now let me hit you with something heavy every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals. You're saying no to something that does. That's not just time wasted, that's progress delayed. And delay long enough, you're gonna wake up in a life that doesn't reflect your potential. It reflects your distractions. Psychologically, this is about ownership. See, when you don't protect your energy, your life starts to feel chaotic, out of control. That's because you're living in response to everything and everyone reacting instead of creating. And that's a dangerous place to stay. It makes you tired, bitter, and disconnected from your purpose. Philosophically, think of energy like currency. You wouldn't hand out $100 bills to strangers on the street without asking what they need it for. So why hand out your energy with no accountability? Why keep investing in conversations, situations, and people that offer no return? Look, you've only got so much fuel in a day. Spend it wisely. Use it to build, to heal, to grow. Because when it's gone, it's gone. Protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. People will use you if you don't define yourself. Know who you are before someone else tells you who you should be. Let me tell you something that might sting a little. If you don't define who you are, the world will do it for you. And trust me, it won't be accurate, and it definitely won't be in your best interest. People will shape you into what they need, not what you are. They'll put their labels on you, box you in, and expect you to perform on cue. And the longer you allow that, the harder it becomes to remember who you are. Now here's the psychology behind it. Humans are wired for identity. We need to know who we are in order to feel grounded. But when you let others define you, parents, friends, bosses, even social media, you become a reflection of their expectations instead of a product of your own vision. That disconnect creates confusion, insecurity, and eventually resentment. You start waking up every day performing a version of yourself that ain't even real. And when you wear a mask long enough, you forget you're wearing one. Philosophically, identity is not something you find. It's something you build. You don't discover who you are by accident. You choose it, you shape it, you fight for it. And the more clearly you define yourself, the harder it becomes for anyone else to redefine you. See, when you don't stand firm in your own values, your own direction, your own worth, people will assign roles to you that serve them, not you. And suddenly, you're living a life designed by someone else's agenda. So if you want to stop being used, stop being unclear. When you know who you are, you stop apologizing for it. And that's when your real life begins. Your growth demands isolation. Sometimes greatness is often born in solitude, not popularity. Let's get something straight right now. Growth doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes with silence, with isolation, with people falling off because you're starting to rise up. See, everybody loves you as long as you stay where they're comfortable. But the moment you start thinking bigger, living better, moving different, that's when folks start pulling back. Don't let that scare you. That's a sign you're leveling up. Now psychologically, we're wired for connection. We crave belonging. That's human, but here's the trap. We start shrinking ourselves just to stay accepted. We hold back our dreams so we don't lose anybody. But you gotta ask yourself, asterisk, is what you're keeping really worth what you're giving up? You see, isolation isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's preparation. Some of your best ideas, your deepest clarity, your boldest breakthroughs, they don't happen in the crowd. They happen in the quiet. In the moments when it's just you, your thoughts, and your future staring back at you, that's when you stop performing and start planning. That's where the real growth happens. Now let's get philosophical for a minute. Every version of you has a price. You can stay liked and stuck, or you can be misunderstood and free. But you can't have both. Greatness demands space, and not everybody can go where you're going. That doesn't make them bad. It just means they were part of your story, not your destiny. So don't run from the loneliness that comes with elevation. Embrace it. It's not empty, it's sacred. Sometimes God clears the room so you can finally hear your own voice. Respect the silence. That's where power is born. You can't pour from an empty cup. Fill your life with purpose before trying to fill others.